would they do that? Does anyone have any ideas why they want to get rid of historic Mount Holly?
Pay their
Designation and
developer
protection?
Pay their developer friends money.
Say again?
Pay their developer friends money.
Okay. And you know what happens when they get rid of it and their developing friends come in and start building warehouses or apartments or maybe even nice houses? I don't know.
Pilots.
But I do know with 20-year maintenance. Yeah, I know, it makes a lot of sense. But what I do know, if you're hiding it from everybody, if you're hiding this from everybody for 7 years, it's probably not in our best interest. So what everyone in here needs to do, and to your point, we don't have enough people in here to do anything. You need to go and tell your friends. You need to tell your friends and have them tell their friends. Because without that, I think we'll get at least one seat. It'd be better to have all three. Right.
I just wanted to speak about the planning board in your plan, because there were a lot of residents that weren't concerned.
Yeah, they were all there and they said, don't pass it, and they passed it anyway. And a lot of people that passed it didn't even read it.
Well, here's the thing, I know there were a lot of people, I don't think it's right, that did go to the meeting, and I attended it as well. Does this work?
No, it's off and on.
I hear you.
Push the button on the bottom.
Okay, so again, Tara Astor, I'm on council. I'm in the minority. I attended the planning board meeting, the master plan, Tuesday, September 10th, and I will say one thing. It was a 150-page document, and people did not get enough time to read. There's no way that it was not available 10 days ahead like it should have been. I actually got to read it after the meeting. But I will say, if I were on the planning board, and I was against what was in it, I would have gone and voted no. And I know the mayor, Chris Banks, Deputy Mayor Jason Jones, and Rich DeFalco, who's also running, are on the planning board, and they were not there, and they were in town.
I wonder why. I wonder
and
why.
And if you're against something, you don't stay home, you go and you vote no. Because there were 5 people. I wouldn't skip a council meeting because I'm usually against a lot of what's going on. I show up and I sit and I vote no on the things that I'm against. If I stayed home, that wouldn't do anything. The reason I'm there is to make a vote and to speak up about what's going on. That plan literally mentioned deleting the historic commission, and that is very concerning. But when you mentioned that, like, some people thought it was terrible and stayed home, and you don't stay home. You show up and you vote no, and you speak up when you have your opportunity to speak and tell people why it's bad. And so there were 5 people at that master planning board meeting that literally is going to decide the next 10 years of our town. 5 out of 10 people were there, and that was really disheartening. There were more residents in the audience listening and asking questions than there were people on the planning board. And I will.
That makes sense because you know.
Anyway, but like, you don't stay home. You show up, you make a protest vote, you vote no, and you tell people why and what's in it and why it's bad. It shamed the people to vote yes. Anyway, so I was very upset about it. So anyway,
of course, I'm on that board.
Yes.
It was a special board. It wasn't a scheduled board. It was called on a special date, and we were asked for dates. I told them that I would be out of the country for that date, which annoyed me as well. I'm only an alternate on the board, but I still get a full vote, so I was just as disappointed as everyone else. And by the way, I got that notice, the letter itself, the Friday before, so that's nowhere near.
I'm not surprised, sir.
That's
I'm
4
not
days.
surprised. That happens a lot, and I don't mean to like I want residents to be able to ask, but it is a constant struggle. It is, like Kim calls it whack-a-mole. I literally have to beg to find out when a meeting is happening, and then sometimes they play games and they'll change it at the last minute. It's disgusting, and I don't anyway. But like I'm not surprised.
Yeah, a master planning board should not be just a spur of the moment meeting as it was. This should be on the schedule every single year. You should know exactly what dates to fall.
Yes.
So what's the status of the plan? Is it adopted?
It was passed.
So that's our plan now.
No, that's the
That's
reevaluation.
Reevaluation. So they did pass that at that meeting. Yeah.
It's the reevaluation of the plan. So I think there's more work to be done administratively to change the plan. Am I wrong?
No, actually, I'll say this. So at the council meeting, I asked everyone if they agreed, if they supported historic Mount Holly, okay? As anyone was there, you know, Mr. Brown said he had to check the council first. Mr. Jones supported it. Mr. Banks somewhat supported it. Right, he wasn't going, but he kind of supported it.
He said he wasn't against it.
Yes.
Right, okay, you're right.
He wouldn't say he was for it, but he'd say he wasn't against
I
it.
stand corrected. Tara, you were for it. However, the letters that a good friend of mine were able to find in PDF form, this has been going on since 2017, and they're aware of this. So, I don't want to call them, say they were lying on stage, but it seems that way, because they were aware of this. My only question is, how long has this been a secret? I don't know, did you guys ever see these letters? Or were you guys even in yet when these letters were being sent?
Oh, the historic commission?
Yeah.
When I first started in 2022, I saw an email saying that we are at risk of losing our historic status.
Right. Right. Okay, that was the last one. It was August 15th. But anyway, I mean, even look, I don't know. Like, I'm annoyed by a lot of this because a lot of these things that I think are just common sense, and I think everyone has their strong points. But you know, the day when I quote found the money, I didn't find it; it was already there. It just I knew where to look for it. When I saw that, I just couldn't believe it. And what happened after that was actually the reason I run. I don't want to go into it, but I'm not running because I got Mount Holly $16,000. I would have done that for free. I'm running for a different reason because I was shocked what I found out, and I don't want to say it publicly. The bottom line is, I'm going to pass the mic.
So, listen, I decided to do this because we are gonna make a change. And I'm not gonna be walking around on eggshells. Just say it like it is. There was a letter that was sent to Josh Brown.
That's not what I was talking about.
Well, this is what I'm talking about
All right,
right now,
all right.
okay? So, in 2017, in 2019, in 2020, and in 2022, reminding him that we were not in compliance with an agreement that was executed in 1993. Okay? So that's what people need to know. This is the problem. Folks are too afraid to say anything. Folks are too afraid to step up and run. We're not. None of us are. So if I'm gonna be up here, now I'm gonna put myself on the line. I'm gonna tell you the truth. This is what I found out. I researched too. Okay? So the problem is, if this was done 2017, 2019, 2020, 2022, and they're saying, hello, you are not in compliance. Nobody on council is holding him accountable. We have a council manager government. That means the manager needs to answer to council. And if the manager is not doing what he's supposed to do, and the council is not holding him accountable, then we need a clean sweep. Okay?
Three reasons for non-compliance.
There you go. There you go.
Hi, Amber Gobervoss. To kind of piggyback on what's been being said most recently, I'm looking to hear from everyone how transparency will change, because it is on just so many fronts a problem in the meetings, like has been discussed, as far as being able to get important documents, that we can't see these things, or they're kept behind closed doors in the township building that's only open 26 hours a week, that people with full-time jobs have to take off of to go see these plans that dictate our town for 10 years. Or I have asked it at council meeting after council meeting, because I can't get to the UEZ meetings that they hold during the work day. So I asked, can we at least get agendas online, as I'm pretty sure is required by New Jersey Sunshine Laws, so that I can at least see, is this a meeting I really need to like worry about trying to get to, because what are they talking about at it? So we can't get agendas, we can't get important documents, and this is so, like, silly, but so a couple nights ago, I had a deer hit out front of my road while on my street while we were decorating for spooky season, right? And I couldn't find the non-emergency number for the police department. I had to text my councilwoman to be like, how do I call? I don't need to call 911, but I gotta call somebody because there's a deer in the road. And so it's everything from things they seem to just not want us to have access to so that we're not informed, to even just basic government functioning. And I asked at that planning board meeting, hey, you know, all of these people are getting up and saying they couldn't get this document ahead of time. Why do we have to go into the township building? Is someone stopping you from putting a PDF online? Like who's hurting you? Like why can't we get this done? Or why do I have to email Sherry to get the budget ahead of the budget meeting for the council? How is that a good use of her 26 and a half hours a week answering all these individual emails to send the budget? Why is it just on the website? So anyway, yes, thank you.
So one of the first things that had me going to a council meeting was literally not being able to find any information. I know we're running short on time, so I'll keep it quick, but we really just need a better website. We need phone numbers that don't all go to the same line. I agree with you because I've been in the same boat where I needed to call the police and there was only an emergency line. And when you have even a non-emergency emergency and you're having to spend all this time going through the internet, no, that's the same number for these other 8 offices. That's not what I need. I think having somebody, like we've already talked about, all of us up here, how Mount Holly is full of qualified people with excellent ideas, and we're not the first town that would make a functioning website. People know how to use Google, people know how to use PDFs. Simple information, I think, should be available online. I am aware there are some things that need to be like kept slightly private, or at least for a little bit, but anything that can be made available to the public, I feel should be made available to the public. We're already in a period, and I'm not going to try to bring like national stuff into it, but like where people are being censored more and more and more. And if I'm like against anything, it's censorship and trying to keep things hidden. I feel like all information should be available. So that's why we have transparency on our slogan, because one of the main things we feel most important about is that every citizen in Mount Holly should be able to find information, not only just like find it, but find it quickly. It should be accessible, it should be easy, and even coming to this meeting, you have to have a certain amount of like mental bandwidth to even be here, and we have to be aware that some of our citizens, even if you're disabled or if you have just like an exhausting day job and families and things, you can't keep chasing your representatives down. You can't keep trying to find a place to print something because there's a terrible scan online on some like back website that you had to scour Google for. So I really think having a functioning website, figuring out our phone situation is really important too, so numbers are there, they're available, and just getting everything that can be available to us, available to us. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, just to add real quick, we have these meetings, and I brought it up, and even just, so many other towns also record and live stream so that people from home, people with children, disabilities, exhausting jobs, just a million one reasons.
There's no reason why we shouldn't be doing that. It's like, I do that in a classroom, like with teenagers, we should be able to have it in like a functioning government.
They don't want to.
Great point. Phil, is there any more questions?
We have one
Can I
more.
get that?
I've got a bunch of questions for you guys.
Well, you're gonna.
Yeah, you're gonna get, what I'd like to see is show of hands, like they've done in other debates, so it'll be nice and easy here. First of all, I want everybody to recognize that the quorum is up for election, which means if 3 of these guys raise their hands to any of these questions and they get elected, then that'll be it. That'll be it. We can hold them to this. Now, there's been a lot of questions about or discussion about the meetings. So I'd like to see a show of hands of who will vote for these things. The chief of police, the CFO, the department heads, a attend council meetings?
Absolutely.
All right, we got it, okay. Show of hands, return meetings to 2 times a month at 7 p.m. and have work sessions. And all meetings comment, I'm sorry, I said comment on charter, which is the requirement technically is 2 meetings a month. The second meeting being a work session. If you look at the township charter, you'll see all these things that have been ignored. Eliminate the 3-minute limit for people to talk, which we run out a lot. Looks like we're doing real good here. Return the meetings to where council members all have a voice. Somehow, the mayor, now, and by the way, folks, I've been your council member and your mayor and every other position you've got in this township. So, what I've seen with, and I'm gonna go into a little dialogue here, please.
You're at 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. So, the fact is that it's not being run the way it is. When you have 2 council members that are constantly stifled, for example, I've seen this at all levels of government. I don't want to see it here in this township. So, show of hands, are we returning these meetings, the council meetings, back to the way they always were?
I would love to say yes, but I'm not really sure of how it used to be, so I can't say, maybe 2 times is not enough.
Well, you know,
But I will sign up and say, get the right
Well,
number.
there you go. Interestingly enough, the way the council meetings have been going back to in the last year, because they see there's a, an issue, it's actually, if you look at the last meetings, it's no longer the mayor saying no answers until the end of the meeting, and then not answering a lot of the questions. You're actually seeing the way it used to be, where we would all, as council members, answer. Because be mindful, this is under the Faulkner Act, a weak mayor township, all right? So that means the mayor has no authority other than running the meeting and signing the documents. Know it, because they've been there, done that. And if the mayor doesn't want to sign anything, don't mean damn crap, because somebody else will sign it. So it's just cool to have that mayor, you can put it on license plate too if you want. But, so we got that. Now, also, so there was mention about the township hours. You did it right on the money, 26.5 hours, right? So somehow we got a 4-day work week, variable hours. Show of hands, is the township gonna go back to 5 days a week, 40 hours, 5 days, 40 hours a week? You guys have to push, okay? 5 days,
5 days.
Come on, raise some hands here.
Of course.
Oh, well, raise the hands, not of course. I'm gonna hold you to this. Okay, let's see. Now here's some others. Who supports returning the STIRT program? There's been discussions about the STIRT program.
The CERT.
The CERT program.
STIRT, S-E-R-T, right. Citizens Emergency Response Team, right? This county level.
I'm not sure if you know that idea, but it's an outstanding idea. I've seen it work in similar places.
We have people that were members of it in this room more than likely.
We actually have residents who just completed CERT training
Right.
right
At the
there.
county level.
So,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
That's good, because that's one of the reasons it's come up. How about restoring the historical commission? That Fred over here was talking about, that sneaky crap that they eliminated.
It may be
Right?
OBE, but yes.
What's that?
It might be overcome by events, but yes.
What does this mean, be overcome by
Well, if
events?
we lose our historic designation, then.
Well, you can work that, I can tell you now you can work that. So, show of hands, the historical commission comes back. There we go. Support from the township of a neighborhood watch, if a neighborhood watch is revived. Okay, there we go. How about bringing back the Citizens Police Academy? We had that, the police department had, some training for people that were interested. The county did it, the police did it. Gene Stansfield started it, and then it came through. All right, those are actually the easy ones. Let's see. All right, are you all for stabilizing taxes? There was some talk about, fixed incomes from one of the residents. So we all were, all hands up for stabilizing taxes. That would mean, other things that you didn't talk about here that would stabilize that would be shared services. And you also need to look at the department headcounts, the budgets, the job descriptions, workload using the population. And this is the thing, using today's population with historical numbers of the past. So when you have a police department, there's a lot of talk about the police department. Do a little more research, folks, because the police department is not paid that low. I just Googled it right here, actually, and they're right in the money. And I actually used to sign the bills for them, so I can tell you now that they're not in any way poverty. And the class 4s or class 2s with would crawl on their hands and knees to get these jobs here. They used to have to get an apartment here in town. There's a whole bunch of backstory to that. But the fact is that it needs to just be looked at a little closer. And to do that, you really have to get down with it. Now, I'm a union guy. I know you got some union folks here. But that doesn't mean you can't get the best bang for the buck. You know, it's proper pay for proper job, you know. But going past that now. This present council will not support wooded and open spaces and the Greenway initiative that we can have in this town, factoring into heat resiliency and flooding issues, as well as, you know, just the quality of life. And as it was mentioned, we're a disadvantaged township, so we get everything that we want, really, as long as we stay disadvantaged. That's kind of a, you know, who really wants to be that? But, you know, we do have it. So you guys are all for that, green, open space, wooded space?
We've actually just been endorsed by the League of Conservation Voters, so the answer is yes.
Yes, all across, right? There's no yes for the council right now. All right, now there's also mentioned about transparency. You know, Oprah just got a kick down by the state level. But that doesn't mean that this township cannot still provide whatever residents want to put an Oprah in for. It takes direction to the township clerk and overall, well, it goes to the manager, but the clerk actually works directly for the mayor. You gotta look at all these things. So you can talk directly to the county township clerk and bypass the manager. A lot of what was said here was true, but you also have a little bit more research to do, because there's not just seniority, there's something called tenure. Your township clerk, I believe, is up for tenure on this next contract, okay? Once you have tenure, man, and the CFO also has tenure, if I'm right, it's a tenure position. You can work with the comptroller's office, I forget the guy's name, he was a friend at one time, and he will come down on whatever's going on. But, so you guys are all on board with that. How about supporting restoring events like First Night Barbecue and Blues, etc.? This is where the CERT team can help you out with that. Let's see, I did have some follow-ups for some other things, but those were yes and no's, and I'm getting harassed here. I'm actually harassed, we're about to go outside.
I'm reading the audience, and I think you're ready to break, and we have refreshments in the next room. Please join us, and you can continue the discussion by all means. But thank you for coming. This is.